Oh yeah, yeah, it's over here.
Welcome, welcome to Exploring Dirt with AMAP. Lots and lots of gray dirt. It's like we're on the moon. Booking a trip with EveRide is a fantastic way to go. Awesome way to spend your money. And part of it was we had such a small group that he asked us if we'd be willing to explore, and we were like, sure. We got the fuel, we got the time. Yeah. So let's go out and check this out. So we were in Swingarm City, and you get into Swingarm City in the southwestern part of this area. There's an entrance off of the main road, and we thought, well, maybe we can get to the other side by that awesome butte. Tyler asked us if we wouldn't mind looking around and seeing if we could scout out a place to exit out of this place rather than going back to the beginning.
It's really not. Just make sure you're leaning back a little bit in the attack position, because there's some bumps, and then you got to get traction on that rear. But it's not bad. I think it looks scarier than it is. I wish I could see what was going on. Oh, I
actually cut the feed here. We were waiting for a little while longer.
Downshift. Keep its power on.
Of course, the coach and teacher and me just can't keep my mouth shut. Giving some advice to Joe there, trying to get up the hill.
Awesome. Now where? Still there. Now where to? Are we going this direction? That butte on the right? Whoa, this is a big down here.
So we don't hit the gas too hard. And again, we're just kind of out exploring, trying to see if there's another way out of Swingarm City. The terrain doesn't change much, but it's still awesome to look at, still awesome to ride on. This is where I should have one of my trail tails, as EveRide used to call them. But I have recorded so many times, made so many videos, and I've exhausted most of my memories. Some of the guys that I've been watching recently on YouTube are like Bug Moto, and there's a guy down in Florida who does an awesome job on his sport touring bikes.
I'm just scouting to see if that's
something dogs, crazy dogs or something like that. I can't remember what he is. But he does an awesome job, and Bug Moto does an awesome job. They write these scripts and they tell these things and they share these life lessons, and it just sounds so professional and polished.
Of course, the drone.
That's never been my style. I have done a few of those that I've been really proud of, but maybe like one or two of them. But most of the time, it's me just off the cuff. So we're just out wandering, looking around, and it did kind of remind me of a time when I was in college, driving an S10 Blazer. It was only a two-wheel drive. It was a 2.8 Wimpy V6 with a 5-speed. And I was on a double date with my friend Dave, and we had these pretty girls that we were going to take to this festival thing in Manti, Utah. And I was going to school in southern Utah. And when you get on I-70, there's actually a sign that says no services for like the next 120 miles or something like that, between Green River, Utah, and like some other part in southern Utah. Nice. You can look it up on a map if you get that interested. But we ended up taking my Blazer and my S10, and we ended up missing the turnoff of where we needed to go up to Manti. And I somehow missed that sign too that said, you know, no services for the next 120 miles or whatever until you get to Green River. I guess, you know, pretty girls, fun conversations. We're just chilling in the back. And, you know, this is before DVDs, this is before GPS, this is before. So we're just conversating and having a great time. And, well, as we were driving along, my Blazer decides to blow up. Like, literally, like, it just stopped running
and then try to go to the
as
right?
I'm doing 70 down the freeway. And I'm pretty mechanically inclined, and so we pulled over, popped the hood, and tried to see what the heck was wrong with it. And it was nothing I could figure out. You would turn the starter, and it would crank just fine. It had plenty of juice, plenty of power on the starter, but nothing would happen. And I've had that experience before one time when I was driving a girl's car. Again, in college, we were coming back from her parents, well, coming back from up north where her parents lived in her Ford Escort. Same situation happened, and her neighbor was a mechanic and ended up driving like a couple hours out of the way to come and fix it. Turns out that was a timing belt, or a timing chain. Not sure which it was in that type of vehicle. So that's what I thought, well, maybe this is what happened.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, we're in big trouble. But we weren't on the side of the freeway for very long, and a tow truck driver pulls over. And poor college kids.
It'll take a while to fill those
But he
in.
put us on the back of his flatbed,
It's
and
less
he
steep over here
took us
if we need to
where
go.
we needed to go, up to Manti.
Ow.
And he even knew one of the guys who owned the Napa Auto Parts store. And he charged me like $200. I don't know if that was a good deal or a bad deal. And tow us up there, and then his friend opened up the auto parts store after hours and helped me fix the S10. And what it was the distributor.
You need to turn around.
The distributor button inside the distributor cap, like totally disintegrated. And so it was actually a pretty easy fix, but I just had no idea, never thought to look inside the distributor to see what was wrong. And so we ended up getting it fixed, and my friend and the girls went and saw the festival while I fixed the Blazer. And then we ended up driving home and getting home late that night. But it was kind of one of those trips where something bad happened, but it's pretty good that it did happen, because if not, we would have ended up in Greenville. Or Green River, not Greenville. Greenville's where I live in Tennessee. But we would have ended up in Green River with that, and would have missed everything.
Oh, yeah.
So, always looking to count your blessings, you know, and see what's wrong, even though you're in a bad situation. But 2024 and 2025, even 2023, have not been easy for my family and me. It was
a little bit of a drop off.
So trying to find the bright side is kind of rough. Right now I've got my broken ribs and broken collarbone from being
over here.
rear-ended and on the motorcycle. There is some positives in that. I'll let you know maybe someday, much later. But my wife's had heart surgery. I've had some issues at work with students making up stories and telling lies that have questioned things that just make education awful. Investigations have to happen, and there's nothing there to investigate. But because a kid says something, because they're just their twisted version of reality, or their mental disabilities, or whatever their reasons, maybe they just hate me. 99% of the kids really like my class, and all the parents, I've got hundreds and hundreds of good accolades, and teachers and parents, I've always had a pretty good relationship, but and then you get one kid that just totally blows that out of the water. My wife and I have had a really good marriage, and we've had a really good time for most of our marriage, and we always felt very blessed, and we see other people having problems, and we were very grateful that we didn't. But here recently, everything has hit at once, and it's been rough. Riding motorcycles and stuff is kind of a great way to escape that and bring back all the happiness in your life. But
I'm thinking maybe up
if
there,
you don't have
what
it,
do y'all think?
you know, the ride's only a temporary thing, so you got to find what makes it permanent. So hopefully at the end of my career, I've only got 6 years left until I can fully retire. Hopefully I can find something bright, something to look forward to. I've been moved to a different school, and not really the school that I'd like to be at, but you know, I've got a job still, and so I've got to look on the bright side. But the world we live in, the world has changed dramatically, and I can pinpoint when it happened. It was when those dang cell phones were in every kid's hand, and the world has finally started to figure out that giving a kid a smartphone and letting them have access to the whole world and the social media and everything on the internet is it's like giving an 8-year-old alcohol or giving a 12-year-old cocaine. It's just a horrible thing.
That's what I was, yeah.
And there's studies and studies to back it up now, that the more a kid's online, the greater their chance of depression, the greater their chance of suicide, like 100% higher than it is if they are off of it. You know, there's really good videos or documentaries. One is called The Social Dilemma. It's actually pretty old now, but you know, people knew this was happening when they would go to Steve Jobs' house, and he had the iPad, and a reporter went and had dinner with his family, and he's asking Steve Jobs, you know, well, how come your kids don't have an iPad? How come your kids don't have cell phones? He said, oh no, we don't do technology in our house. So that's like a drug dealer saying, you know, you don't get addicted to your own product. And it's been rough for the world, honestly, since this has happened. It's made education is so antiquated. It's so just needs to be reset so badly. Big reset button would be nice. As a religious person, I know what that reset button is, and I'm looking forward to it.
Does that look like a gate?
Second time that I dumped it on this trip. And Craig is awesome. He's in his late 20s, early 30s, I don't know, and he was so good about coming back and helping anybody who had knocked over their bike.
So the better option is to go between the rocks, not over them. That's why I crashed, I think.
Super smart guy too. He helped Tyler fix the Black Widow. Had throttle cable issues. Brought the parts, fixed it for him, did it all the work himself. It's awesome.
1, 2, 3. Thank you. You're awesome. Ooh, that's heavy. Again, rescue man.
I thought for sure this bike was flooded being laid over like that. I thought for sure I'd have to sit for a while, let that carb clear, holding that throttle open, and run the starter for a long time.
Yeah. Probably need to. It's all flooded now, probably. Oh, nope. Right up.
But no! The DR lives. Can't kill the DR. So here's that fence that we've been seeing in the background, wondering if we could find a way through this fence. And there was no such opening. No gate. We thought that was a gate. It was not a gate. So we made it all the way out here for nada.
I don't either. I think, well, there was a sign back there.
But that was
something
fun.
About boundary.
Craig and I just kind of blazed the trail.
So we might need to go back. There they are. I don't see anything. I mean, there's tracks along the fence, but the fence keeps going all the way down there. And it's hot. So when we're stopped, it's psycho how hot it gets.
But now Tyler knows. And anybody he brings in the future knows that this is just a play area and you have to go back out the same way you came in.
No. Where we dropped in, that'll be hard getting out. I'm sure there's another trail. Yeah, there's probably another direction.
So that butte, there's an amazing picture of that butte that gets on Bing wallpaper. Sunset or sunrise, it's incredible. It's a pretty neat place. But it's probably like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon by now. Maybe just noon, I don't know. We're just kind of meandering around. Again, me and Craig kind of blazed the trail, and Tyler and Joe is still having some heating issues with his KLX, so they chose to find some shade. So we start to kind of hightail it back as quick as we can to get back to where Joe and Tyler are. Sean had already left. He went back to see if he could fix that fuel pump on his bike. Again, not knowing what it was at the time, but ended up fixing it. Later, he figured it out after doing some forum checking. So the leader becomes the follower because we decided to go back the way that we came. We knew how we came in. Didn't know if where we were going was going to lead us out. I had a backpack full of water with my Camelback. And I also had 2 liters of water that I'm sitting on. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If not, that's okay. It's not a big exciting video.